And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, it is good to be home. It is cloudy in Arizona. I want to say it's cloudy in the old Pueblo, but I was looking north today, and I saw much larger clouds heading your way. We're getting hurricane remnants around here. The weather has not really changed the temperature all that much. Unfortunately, I came home and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I saw the weather forecasting to be around 89. It was 99 when we parked. I hate it. I can't wait for it to cool off. I hope you're staying dry. How you doing today?
Listen, my friend, it's good to see you. We are trying our best. There was a lot of rain this morning, like waking up to rain, which is not something we experience in the Valley very often. So it was good. I'm sporting my first sweater. Shout out to our YouTube viewers. First sweater of the season here on the podcast. So yeah, man, I'm just so happy to see you. It's the conclusion of fall break as we enter our fourth year of Gimmick Infringement. Again, thank you all. I don't want to say this for the end of the episode, but I figure we put it here, Brad, as we've done the past couple weeks. So thankful for 4 years of Gimmick Infringement. If you've been with us from the jump, if you've just joined us recently, if this is your very first episode, we are so grateful that you're here. So, man, my heart's filled with gratitude. It's been a really relaxing fall break. I'm here with one of my favorite people in the world, ready to talk pro wrestling and pop culture. Yeah, that's you. WWE, AEW, Golden Badge. I finally saw him in theaters. I believe we even have a someday when you have kids.
Yep.
Mixed with a possible Texas-themed promo.
Oof.
We do love our Texas audience. So, yeah, man, my heart is full today. I'm excited for the second quarter that we're going to get into with the school year. Hopefully lots of wins and lots of joy ahead. How you been, Brad? How was Texas? Fill us in.
Texas was great. It was a fun trip. I got to go to the beach.
I saw that. Jealous.
I got to tell you, I did not tell you this part. First of all, beautiful weather. Like, beautiful weather. Our government is a show. I'll have to bleep that out, I believe, because within the first 10, I don't think I can swear, but it is a train wreck. We got there. I don't have it in here right now, but I have there's a stoneware mug. It's kind of got like a little bit of green in it and a brown stoneware bottom to it, kind of black green. You've seen it on this show. I've definitely used the cup. It's sort of shaped almost like a tea kettle shape with an open top. I got that there the last time we were there, like 4 years ago now, because it was 2021 when we went the last time to Corpus Christi, to San Padre Island, and to the beach, and it was closed. It was closed because there was nobody there to run it because it's a national park. So you still got to pay to get in. We did not. Shout out to Flora. Shout out to Brett for sharing vehicles so we could use your military ID and go in there for free. It's crazy that teachers don't get in for free. Just wanted to throw that out there, but we didn't have to pay the fee to go in, which was wonderful since nothing was happening there because everything was closed. The beach was happening though, and you know what else is happening? A giant jellyfish bloom. I got into the water about 2 feet out. I thought, I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time swimming, but I was like, I really want to go in the ocean. It's the ocean. I'm here. I got 2 feet out, immediately saw a pink jellyfish floating by about that big, and it's known as a pink meanie. I found that out on the way home going what the hell was that? About 20 minutes later, saw another one. A little while after that, saw another one. And we all decided to go out in the water. Freya was jumping over the waves, And then we saw what we thought was a 2 foot long floating plastic bag. But then Brett saw tentacles sticking out of this thing, which was a different kind of jellyfish. They have Portuguese man-o-war around there, which technically aren't jellyfish, but you don't want to F around with those. You don't really want to be in the water when there's jellyfish. The next day, somebody was taking a walk on the beach and took a video of it, and Flora sent it to me and my sister-in-law, and it's just a dead jellyfish washed up on the beach every 5 feet. They're just everywhere. Never seen one in the wild before. To see that many in rapid succession, kind of terrifying. But we got to talk. I'm not going to cut a full-blown promo here, but driving in Texas. Okay, Texas got a lot of things figured out. One of them is on all the state highways, they have intermittent passing lanes, and there's a get out of the way law. So if you're going to go slow, once you pass, you have to go in the right lane. You're done now. You can't ride in the left. Get out of the way. There are staggered passing lanes, especially when we were going home. We were heading toward El Paso before we got on I-10. There was these passing lanes where it's when you're going uphill, it splits. The two lane roads have a passing lane. It'll open up on one side going uphill so that like the semi trucks have to pull over because they're not going to be able to get up to speed going up the hill, and you can pass them. As soon as you're over that hill, lane ends. And there are every like mile or two where you have these passing lanes, and it's kind of awesome. The worst part of all of this is the parking lots. It's the exchanges where you got to like simply turn left. None of them make sense. They got places where they got lines in different colors, but none of them are where you're going. It's like where the other side's going to go, but from where you are. It's real weird. It doesn't make any sense. I can never understand what's going on. It's probably been a minute since you've taken the Cortero exit. So when they renovated I guess the underpass underneath I-10, they moved one of the lanes so that it's like, if you're in there, you're going straight. And if you want to turn left, you got to be in the left lane. I think it used to be 2 left turn lanes. I can't remember. It's been so long, but they have dotted lines telling you like, hey, follow the line. Now you know where you're going. Texas didn't really have those the same way. The parking lots, they're like whoever designed airplanes and their seats for comfort also designed Texas parking lots. Let's just cram as many cars and vehicles into small spaces that are impossible to get out of like just the worst. So I'm not going to miss their stupid parking lots. I'm not going to miss how dumb the turning lanes are, or just trying to get like back onto a road because there's like not frontage roads that are frontage roads but aren't frontage roads. I don't know how to describe them. Real weird. I'm not going to miss any of that. I am going to miss the people there were really nice. Shout out to El Paso. I love that city. And here's the biggest reason why. We stopped at an HEB, Tyler, and I know you haven't had the pleasure of an HEB. HEB, shout out HEB. I love this store. Kind of like a Fry's. HEB Pluses are like a Fry's meets Cabela's. No way else to describe it. The middle of it is like rolling the barrel smokers and offset chamber cookers, and you can buy lumber basically there if it's for smoking. We definitely brought home some logs. I got some post oak ready to go when we find a good deal on a brisket. I got all this stuff going on, and I wore my Willow shirt on the road. We had to stop and pick up some supplies as we were driving, and I might have to take that back. It might have been in Fort Stockton, where we stopped at the HEB on the way to El Paso, but still shout out El Paso. Very good coffee places there. I had to stand by the bathroom waiting for the ladies to come out. 3 different people, Tyler, walked by to tell me how much they loved my Willow Nightingale shirt. They saw that tee and were like, that's a great shirt. Everybody's like, I think there's this idea that if you're on a border town, that if you're by the border, that nobody's going to speak English. It's America. So they might speak Spanish too. I don't know what else to say. Like it was awesome. Also, I don't know, learn Spanish. It was a fun trip. I loved going there. I don't like driving to Texas, mostly because of how long it is to just get through it. The points, when you hit the signs that are like 40 miles to the next gas station, 60 miles to 100 miles to the next gas station, like when you hit those signs, you go like, why am I even here? Why does this place exist? Why even bother? Like, it's just endlessness, void, grass, dirt. It's crazy, picturesque, beautiful. I don't really want to cut a promo on Texas because I really do enjoy going there. If I could find a place where I felt like, yeah, this is a place I should live, I would. But we're getting hurricane remnants right now, and that's enough. I don't need the actual proper hurricanes, or I'd move to Houston. I believe the 4th largest city in America. So it's a great state, man. I can't recommend traveling all of the back roads. I recommend taking the interstate, but I promise you, if you take I-10 or whatever interstate it is and you go through Amarillo, you're going to have different kinds of regrets because it is It is the same level of boring, but flatter and smells more like cow poop.
Mm. Lots of sense, I would imagine. I think I told you
Mm-hmm.
off air, Brad. I've had a few people in my life move to Texas within the last year, and I hear good things about it. I've driven through it once. It was a long journey. To your point, I didn't know about the parking lot, so that is new information for me. I'm just glad you had such a positive trip, man. That's
And yeah,
I
I
love
buried
that
the
you were,
lead. I got barbecue.
and you got you absolutely buried the lead.
You find a place that has proper Post Oak Texas barbecue run by Latinos like we did.
You're good. You made it.
Ooh, that cream corn. I'm still thinking about it.
This was a positive trip, and the fact that you're able to also view it through Freya's lens as well, and so she's having these she's having these amazing amazing American experiences. She's having these amazing experiences. Shout out to her incredible parents of seeing life outside of Marana. As much as we love Marana, as much as we love Arizona, there is such a vast world out here. So she's going to be taking a very global trip next summer. But before then, she is having these great experiences with her parents and seeing the pictures and videos that you sent my way. Man, it just makes me so happy. It sounds like this fall break was a W. It was a big win.
It was a big dub, and when we had a good trip, it was a lot of drive, 14 plus miles each way.
It's a lot, man.
Plus an 8-year-old who's got to pee every 13 seconds.
That's also part of the child vacation experience as well, right? The bladder control.
It's really fun when you hit those 40 to 60 to 100 miles an hour until the next thing.
I'm sure
I got to go potty bad. Well, that's good. That's real good. Well, we're going to test your endurance here. Tyler, another place we got to test our endurance with Freya is at the movie theater. I don't think we've ever made it through a movie without a pee break, but that's okay. I bet you did for this, but I don't know. I don't know how good it was. So we're going to find out. Play the music. It's time for GI at the Movies Hymn Edition.
And now it's time for GI at the Movies.
Brad Winchester, you have big feelings about Texas parking lots. I have big feelings about this movie, Him. Now, I have been excited since even the poster dropped, since Jordan Peele tweeted about it back in April. And here we are. Yeah, here we are now in October. And I went to the movies, although the film is now available via streaming, but I did go to our local Harkins.
Wow, that happened quick.
Check this out. Yeah, increasingly fast. And I'm glad I did. I think this is a film to be enjoyed in the theater. And we'll talk about whether it's worth seeing streaming here in just a moment. Yeah, man, the debate around Him is fascinating. And I knew that the film was very divisive going into it. Some people really enjoyed it. A lot of people did not. So this is director Justin Tipping's latest effort. He's the director behind one of my favorite films of 2016, a movie called Kicks, which was kind of a cult classic in a way. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I actually went to the...
Is Will Smith?
No. I know Mahershala Ali.
Oh, wait, no, that was...
it's a younger...
I'm thinking of Air.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah, this is that Kicks was an original IP about a kid in search of these really nice pair of sneakers. I believe Jordans, actually, and just kind of like a day in the life piece. Really good film. I saw it at the Harkins in Tempe. That's the only theater.
I remember the poster.
Yeah, I was in Tucson at the time, and the Harkins in Tempe was the only theater near us showing it. So I remember, my boy Kevin and I drove to Tempe just to see it. He still says it's his favorite film ever.
Wow.
I really enjoyed Kicks. Yeah, so Justin Tipping is back with him, and the movie follows the story of Cameron Cade, an elite college quarterback who is the presumptive #1 pick in the next NFL draft. However, Cade's future is in question after suffering a mysterious attack from a crazed fan that leaves Cade with a head injury. So, to get his draft stock back and to really regain his mojo, he is invited by Marlon Wayans, who plays this character, Isaiah White, who is the veteran quarterback for the fictitious San Antonio Saviors team. So Cade has to go to White's compound for a week of training. And if Cade proves himself, White tells him the Saviors will, in fact, draft Cade #1, and Cade will effectively be White's successor. Now, Brad, I tell you, Isaiah White is effectively the black Tom Brady in this film. He's won 8 Super Bowls. The Saviors are the best team in this league. The film doesn't call it the NFL, but it's clearly a play on the NFL.
Sure.
And Kate has to go to this compound. And what could possibly go wrong, Brad? It's in a remote desert location. We've seen this go wrong before when leads have to travel to a remote location. They have to turn in their phones immediately. And everything goes wrong from there. So without giving away too many spoilers, Brad, a few points I want to hit on here. Tyreek Withers, I should say, plays Cameron Cade. He's a younger actor. He was the lead in an episode of Atlanta. He also starred in I Know What You Did last summer, the reprise of that film that came out earlier this year. So this is by far his biggest role to date. And although the story is fictitious, the film does critique the collegiate and professional football system that seems to chew up and spit out prospects year after year. While watching this film, I thought about what my mom has said year in and year out when we're watching like the NFL or the NBA draft combines or even trade seasons. She always says, "This is modern day slavery." And I would usually and still do laugh at that, like, "Oh, mom, you're kind of wild." And like that's quite the phrase to say aloud. And she loves the NFL and loves the NBA as much as you and I do, Brad. But she's always said, "Oh, they're like measuring these guys' wingspans and making them run." She's like, "This is for sure modern day slavery." And this film is very much in that spirit of critiquing particularly the football system and how brutal and violent it is. Marlon Wayans is exceptional. Julia Fox plays Marlon Wayans' wife in the film. She plays Elsie White. She's spooky in all the right ways. Again, I can't emphasize enough, this is the best work I've seen Marlon Wayans do of his career, particularly in the drama space. Tyreek Withers does a really fine job, Brad. There are several Get Out homages that
Cool.
I
Awesome.
enjoyed.
I'm
Yeah,
check it
like
out right now,
and Jordan Peele is a producer, not a director, but a producer of this film, and you can just see points in the story, artistic, creative decisions that are made that are like, oh, this is very much in the spirit of Get Out. But what I want to tell you, Brad, you dealt with Texas parking lots. I don't know if there were potholes out where you were.
Yes.
But there were plot holes in him. I really wanted to love this film. I want you to see this, and I want our audience to check it out simply due to how beautiful it was and the way it was shot and the colors and the artistic direction of it is very ambitious. But my goodness, Brad, the plot holes are tough. When I tell you the last 15 minutes of this film, it was the equivalent of, have you seen that one Carlton Banks Fresh Prince of Bel-Air half-court shot gif?
Yes.
Where he throws it up.
Yeah.
And it's sailing. Maybe it's going to go in. And then it just completely misses the backboard. That was the last 15 minutes of this film. It is very, very divisive. For me, it was a complete miss and really soured my outlook on the film. I in one way, I can respect how Tipping and company really went for it with the last 15 minutes, but there are just so many plot holes and so many questions I have. And I really left the film angry, thinking this could have been so much better. And the performances, by and large, are really solid to strong. But it was the Carlton Banks gif at the end of this film.
That's right.
So I think it's worth checking out just to be a part of the conversation and continue the dialogue around, particularly football, Brad. I don't know that there have been many horror movies based on sports, but football is the clear leader for, if you're going to make a film that is filled with scares, that is spooky. Football has been in our lives for decades, just saying, choose me, pick me to have a film be framed around, particularly a spooky societal critiquing film. So I thought there was a lot to be said about the critiques of football, but by the end of the film, the plane just wasn't landed on some of those critiques. So worth checking out. But if you can, avoid paying for this film. Wait till it arrives on your streaming platform of choice, which again you are paying for. But I wouldn't go to YouTube and buy or rent it immediately. Lots to like about the film, especially how pretty it looks. But plot-wise, definitely some holes that are pretty inescapable. Much like your driving experience in Texas, perhaps.
Okay, well, good to know. I watched Salem's Lot that came out, I believe, last year. on HBO Max. It was a remake, a faithful adaptation of the novel, as according to the description, with just dreadful character development throughout the whole film. It was one of those things where it's like visually stunning, beautiful movie, a lot of good scares and stuff. But I feel like the movie could have used an hour or two. They could have part 1 and part 2'd it like they did with it, and it would have been pretty good. Which I also finally watched on the car ride, and yeah, I had a lot of fun catching up on horror movies. I've been in a horror movie kick because I haven't watched any in probably 8 or 9 years because of reasons that are Freya. But had a lot of fun. I'm glad you caught a movie in theaters. I'm glad I will be catching it at my house. Like I have these horror movies. I'm just sad to hear that. But we also haven't had like a proper Jordan Peele movie yet. In a while, right? Like producing, being a part of it, writing things, doing that.
Producing is different than directing,
completely
and it showed in this film. I think his name attached got people to the theater. I know
Monkey Man, same thing, right?
Right, box office, a much better film than him. Box office wise, I think Jordan Peele's name is always going to add value to any project. But I don't know that this was a smashing success at the box office, and I think in part because the reviews were so critical right away. If you go on RogerDeeper.com, him has a half star review out of 4, and points were made. Man, I thought it's at least a 1 star, 1.5. But overall, just the film, it's one of those where you leave the theater and you think, man, if it went left instead of right here, or if we ironed out this particular plot element, or why Cameron Cade would turn in his phone, like. It's 2025, but characters still do that. It had the potential to be, I think, a 3-star film at the very least, but there were some glaring omissions that led it to not fulfill its potential. But it's beautiful to watch, man. I think directionally, visually, you'll really appreciate it. I think our audience will really enjoy watching it. But when you think critically about the plot, you may leave with some big feelings, like Brad in Texas.
Yeah, cinematography. Always here for it.
It's beautiful.
There's some really beautiful movies that aren't good movies that, they just look really, really good. It's been a long time since I watched The Happening. I would never watch it on purpose again. But I wonder what it looked like. I can't remember. I was too busy laughing at how people were dying in that movie. But you brought up somebody important. The only Cade that we want to talk about around here, I guess, right here. Shout out to Pete. Peter gave me this. Your pops gave me this. This is
what a guy.
Yeah, this has been in the background for a while, but I can never get it clearly in the shot. I got the belt back there. I got some AEW figures back there, but it's really hard to figure out a spot for him right now, especially since it's that time of year. It's Christmas time, and I got another set going up. This time a train set will be going up later in the year. As we round out the Christmas stuff. That's not the most important part. It's not the most important couple of words in GI, but we know what the most important words in GI are.
Steph Watch.
Come on. When I tell you, Brad Winchester, I have never been more excited for a Steph Watch than I am at this very moment. I woke up this morning with the rain in the background, grateful and excited that we live in a where Stephanie Vaquer not only exists, but is thriving, Brad.
Squashing, you could say.
Latest edition of Steph Watch. We're going to get right to it here. Stephanie Vaquer faced Tiffany Stratton on Saturday at Crown Jewel Perth. La Primera was heavily featured in promotion of the event, which led me to believe she was going to win, including an event for Australian youth, and then actually at the kickoff event live streamed on YouTube the day of SmackDown leading up to this show. I just felt like, man, they're really pushing Steph as one of the faces of this event. She has to defeat Tiffany Stratton, as you and I pleaded for on last week's edition of the podcast. She got promo time. And let me actually rewind first, Brad. She won the match. That is a spoiler we will share in case you didn't see it. She defeated Tiffany Stratton, and the night ends with not only Seth Rollins being victorious in the ring with Triple H, but Stephanie Vaquer right there as well. Brad, not only do I love that she's being booked in such a strong manner, but I really appreciate and admire the promo time she's being given. Again, whether it's on TV, whether it's at these events kicking off, to the premium live events, if you will, if that's not too redundant. I love that she is given microphone time, and learning a language is hard. We know
Mhm.
wrestling is her first language, great concept for a T. Learning a language is super difficult, and to be able to speak that language in front of, potentially hundreds of thousands of people in any given week, I just really love how we continue to see her soar. And this is just another huge moment in her career and her ascension in WWE. Right, it was a year ago that Stephanie Vaquer was last September 2024, when she debuted in NXT. And to think we're already here, where not only is she receiving huge reactions from the fans, not only is she the Raw Women's Champion, but now she won this match against Tiffany Stratton and has the crown jewel, or the dynamite diamond ring. It just filled me with so much joy. You are a big fan of Stephanie Vaquer. She is quite literally in the background of all of our
Yes.
episodes here on YouTube. She's thriving, man, and I can't wait to see what's next. I think that Rhea Ripley rivalry is not too far down the line. She said as much when asked what's next for her and what does she want on the Crown Jewel post show. That rivalry, that potential rivalry, is going to be big for GI. Rhea is a favorite of yours. Steph is a favorite of mine. I'm just so glad that she's soaring right now, man. This is very remarkable in someone's first year on the main roster. Stephanie Vaquer, let's go. La Primera, Steph Watch. We up.
I'm looking at the Forbidden Door 2024 card because it was in June 30th
Crazy.
of Mercedes.
16
Yes.
months ago.
Mercedes Moné, title for title against Stephanie Vaquer.
Yep.
But then we also had Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. In a trios match that who cares? Let's see. But it was Mariah May versus Saraya also on that card.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty uncanny, like pretty amazing. Looking back at it a year ago. And we also had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy, and Brian Danielson was still wrestling. Shingo Takagi was his opponent for that. Jon Moxley against Naito. Will Ospreay versus Swerve. But to have two women's talent, one is currently with the NXT brand, one of them is currently running the WWE brand. It is really cool to see where Stephanie Vaquer has had an absolute rocket strapped to her back since June 30th, 2024. Shout out to opportunities for wrestlers to showcase their talent, because I don't know that Stephanie Vaquer gets into the WWE the way she does if she doesn't have that moment on Forbidden Door where everybody's like, holy crap, look at this. This is insane. And she's real good. And then to have Mariah May be showcased for an entire year of her life to be a champion and be in that great storyline, one of the best of all time with Toni Storm. And now to be, I think it's so cool to watch all these women get opportunities to wrestle elsewhere, to go achieve whatever their dreams are and to go accomplish whatever they want to do. But to watch Stephanie's ascension has been a lot of fun.
And shout out to persistence. The human element of this, it is always cool to me, whether it's Mariah May, now Blake Monroe in NXT, whether it's Stephanie Vaquer, to now not only work for, to be thriving in a company that said, no, you're not ready years ago. And to put the pride and the ego aside, to not feel like, oh no, I'm ready. Come on, you're missing out. To take that feedback, to work on your craft, or I say to master your craft, and to reach a point years later where you become so undeniable, right? Like, you're gorgeous, you're powerful, you're motivated, and to just be undeniable in the way Stephanie Vaquer is, Brad. It's just an amazing human piece. It's an amazing human study that, man, we're here. She probably thought about maybe hanging up her boots at various times, especially after that first tryout and that first no, but to just double down on yourself and work on your craft, and to not only reach NXT, to not only reach the main roster, but for us to exist in a time where she just beat Tiffy time. And she's in the ring at the
handedly.
She's in the ring at the end of the show, equal to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was the best part.
Who's been a face of WWE for a decade now. Like, and I think this will lead us into our WWE conversation, Brad. Crown Jewel Perth, for me, easily one of the strongest efforts from WWE all year. I think when we look back, when we have our year in review podcast, which is shockingly not too far away, two events come to mind for me in terms of WWE's best efforts: Evolution and Crown Jewel Perth. The decisions that were made on the show, the in-ring work, it was total pun intended, phenomenal. Which leads me to my question for you. So knowing you the way I do, I wanted to frame this question around joy and who are 4 superstars that you were most excited to see within the last week in WWE. And that's where my question is going to land us. So first, we had the reunion of Aleister Black. Not even the reunion, but really the first time we've seen Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, a real life couple, actually on screen working together creatively. That was on Friday. And then less than 24 hours later for us on Crown Jewel Perth, excuse me, John Cena versus AJ Styles tore the house down. AJ Styles bringing back the TNA trunks was everything that I needed at this point in my life as a huge AJ Styles fan, especially TNA AJ, that era. To see him and John Cena have this match that was a love letter
to really good
to their colleagues, yes, and some of their biggest rivals, and just overall love letter to wrestling. And again, Stephanie Vaquer winning earlier that night, but we already dedicated our love letter to her. But then also again to have, oh man, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega working together. That leads me to be really excited about the future of SmackDown. So either direction you want to take it, Brad, knowing you the way I do, I suspect all 4 of these superstars made you very happy over the last 48 to 72 hours. How optimistic are you feeling about the potential pairing, on-screen pairing of Zelina and Aleister? And then also, I think we just need to hear your thoughts on AJ versus John Cena, because if that match isn't in our match of the year conversations in a few months, I'll be very shocked.
Okay. Aleister Black and Zelina Vega reuniting or uniting, however you want to look at it on screen. I think it was a cool moment because we all know it's actually going to be something that's sort of, well, it's kind of part of my question, so I'll try to hold back on that part. I think the only issue I had with it wasn't them reuniting. It was that they did basically a last man standing no DQ match that was better than the one on the pay-per-view. I don't even know what to say. It just felt like it was fine. It was the Roman and Bronson match was fine, I guess. But the match on SmackDown was better with Aleister Black and Damian Priest. And then you get Zelina Vega. I think it's a really cool pairing. I like heel Zelina was really fun with Andrade. I think that this could be really interesting. I think it's something that, quite honestly, I think the characters need. I don't know. What do you do with Aleister Black right now? Because it's cool that we have all these other stories and these other feuds going on, but I don't know that any of them feel like, I don't know what the word is. It's just, is it important? They don't feel important. They might be interesting, but they don't feel important. And I think that's one of the things I have a problem with. This AJ Styles John Cena match, however, felt very important. It felt fan driven. First of all, they were demanding it. We got to get this before they're both done. Because how many times have they wrestled before? I literally don't know the answer. I have no idea.
A handful.
Probably not many.
2 matches in the past, 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in a rivalry, a very memorable rivalry, but actual matches.
Exactly.
Maybe they had 3.
Yeah, and then not accounting like house shows and stuff like that. I'm sure they did that at some point. But
this was a dream match for wrestling fans for years upon years. The top guy in WWE versus the top guy in TNA, and they played into that. To your point,
I love that. I'm sure John Cena did the write-in. Like they said, like John Cena wrote it in. I'm sure he had a part in it, or it was like his creative idea. AJ Styles seemed legitimately shocked because he was wholly bleeping in the ring and smiling and breaking character and stuff. And he's like the very definition of total nonstop action, the true leader, the best Bullet Club member of all time or whatever. But dropping TNA and Bullet Club in the ring was really, really cool. I don't think anybody would be mad about that. I don't think there's an entity, New Japan, AEW, that would be mad at something like that, because you're acknowledging wrestling history and the importance of where that character came from to get to the WWE. The grind in TNA turning into Impact and AJ just being like, all right, you're not going to pay me, I'm out of here. Going to New Japan, to having a really memorable run with Bullet Club, and then having that be parlayed into his debut at the Rumble. in, I believe, 2016. And you have he interrupted or didn't interrupt. He debuted when Roman Reigns was in the ring, when they were pushing him when nobody wanted that. And then he got John Cena. This was so fun. I think they need to stop now with John Cena pulling out all of the honorary finishers. I think that needs to halt now, because I think he's gone through them all. Except he's established an expectation now by doing it in like back-to-back matches almost, because I don't count the Brock Lesnar thing. If you do that too much, it's going to end up being like just too much. And you're playing into CM Punk's 5 moves of doom, except it's other people's moves of doom. And I don't know that that's great, but it is good for the nostalgia. I thought it worked really well in this match. I thought there was one spot. It was when AJ was getting John Cena into the Styles Clash, where he like bent down to bump it, that he accidentally like gave Cena a pile driver to like get ready to jump for the Styles Clash. Where he was like dunk right on his head, and I was like, "Damn, is John okay? He is not young." Like that part got me. I thought it was a ton of fun. I think everything was right about this. I think they did it all right, except for one thing, and I'll keep to myself for now. But I think Zelina and Aleister Black, you know how much I love both of them. I think this is a great move for them. I think this will give them something fresh and creative to do. I can't wait to see what plays out of it. Hopefully this leads to some pretty fun stuff, since we've had a mixed tag match in WWE recently. Maybe we get some more of that stuff. Maybe this leads to title runs for both of them with a bigger title. I don't know. I don't know where this goes, so I'm excited to see it. We know where it's going with John Cena. I don't know where it's going with AJ Styles. He's been getting a lot of love and flowers, but he's also been taking a lot of L's in big matches. So I'm not super sure where this goes with him. I also don't know how much time he has left. So I'm just glad they got this moment in that hot crowd. That was a ton of fun. That match was a lot of fun. If you didn't see it, go out of your way to watch it. It was a lot of fun.
Likewise, it's easy to forget just how much these two guys have meant to my wrestling fandom over the years. Yeah. I mean, it's the rivalry was great going back, that must have been 10 years ago. And the fact that they were able to run this back, to your point, Brad, largely based off of the fan, not only requests, but the fan demands that, during John Cena's retirement tour, we need to see this. And to add on to that, AJ Styles saying that he is going to hang it up in 2026 because it's his decision. He needs to spend time with his family. And oh man, you have 2 absolute giants of the industry, hugely responsible for furthering the wrestling business of this generation over the last 15 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we were able to see these 2 guys, both healthy, both do their thing, as you put it, in front of an exceptionally hot crowd in Australia. It was, again, total pun intended, it was phenomenal. It just checked all the boxes, and I'm so glad we were able to see it. And to your point about Zelina and Aleister, both characters need this union at this time.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what's ahead. It's going to be, I'm sure, one of my favorite creative decisions on SmackDown for the rest of the year. It's great timing. Both of them need it.
Yeah, I wonder what this does for. I got questions about Cody and Seth too. Seth was definitely the right call in this circumstance.
Oh, 100%.
That was easy. I just
don't know. Cody's like 4-0 against him. Since he came back to WWE.
Right.
I mean, it was although the math still isn't in favor of Seth, it was time. I thought creatively what they did with him doubting himself and Paul Heyman saying, well, if you lose again, dude, I might need to find someone else to work with. I actually thought that was done really well. I enjoyed the tension behind that.
Yeah, and the backstage to set it up, excuse me, where Paul was like, okay, if he wins, this is what when he wins, this is what we're gonna do. And then the Bronze were like, what if he loses? And Paul comes back on screen to go, you know what happens, and then walks away. I was like, ooh,
it's great business. Yeah, planting that little seed of doubt. And Cody's beaten this man so many times that it's like, oh well, yeah, maybe there's a shot that Cody does win, but Seth should win, and he did, which, like you said, totally the right call. I couldn't agree more.
And I'm glad we got like the Mercedes Moné Okada moment of the 2 champs coming out with the belts. I did appreciate that. It just felt like the way that Seth cut that promo at the end without really being interviewed. it felt like something was going to happen there. And then fireworks happened for about 25 seconds straight. And then nothing happened. And then Steph came out and then it ended. I thought there would be more there, but I'm not mad at it. I think it's fine. It ended with that. And I guess what else do you end with? But I don't know that it furthered a lot of storylines. And if it ended a lot of them, felt like a weird ending, weird place. But to your point, that card, the worst match on there wasn't a bad match. It was like a fine standard, no DQ match, and everything else was pretty solid on there. I thought it was a very good show overall. Tyler, my question, I have tradition here. Okay, tradition. There are very few places that love themselves some tradition more than professional wrestling companies and talent. Often that includes the bookers. So Tyler, John Cena and AJ Styles had a really fun, really memorable match that I think most would agree should have main evented the evening. Okay, in an era of we know the deal with wrestling, do we need to maintain the mystique and allure of the championship titles as the, quote, most important thing, end quote, when there are bigger, more important matches?
I may surprise you with my answer. I do think maintaining that mystique is the priority. There's something to be said for a championship match on the men's side or on the women's side. We've been asking for a women's title match to main event an AEW pay-per-view since about 2023, and I'm hopeful we're getting closer to that point. But in the context of WWE, even with their lineage and their prestige and their reach, yes, I do believe it's still extremely important that a title match main events your premium live event. And frankly, Brad, I was completely okay. I thought it was the right decision to close the show with Seth versus Cody, not just because it's for a belt. And in this case, it's interesting because it's the Crown Jewel title. It's not an established title per se that's defended, but given the storyline, given the history between Cody and Seth, I mean, this has been going on since Cody re-debuted in WWE at WrestleMania, going on what now, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
So the storyline, the champion versus champion of it all, but even heading into the next WWE PLE, whether it's NXT, whether it's WWE proper, again, whether it's AEW, yes, for me as a wrestling fan, there is something to be said to maintain the mystique and the lineage of a title match, a title program, main eventing your show. Now, you may have a one-off where there is a match that doesn't include the title that can main event. I'm even thinking of WrestleMania Night 1 from back in April when you had that triple threat for the custody of Paul Heyman, Roman versus Seth versus CM Punk.
Yeah.
That's a pretty unique situation where I was okay with it. But I lean toward title matches closing these shows in the context of Crown Jewel Perth. To me, they made the right decision by having Seth and Cody close it out.
I agree with you. For the most part, just what happened after Cena and Styles.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we didn't mention Rhea and Io were successful against the Kabuki Warriors.
It was good. It was a really good match. It was
for fun. Sure. Yeah, two of your biggest stars in the company, Io and Rhea. But
when you take that match, you put it in there as a breath freshener.
Correct.
And that makes me not feel super awesome about that, because that match was really good and I love these women and I don't want to go like, oh, I'm exhausted after the emotional whirlwind that was John Cena versus AJ Styles, and now more stuff happens. That's how I felt about the Becky and Seth versus Punk and AJ. I turned the show off thinking it was over.
Right. Yeah, that's a good rebuttal. Drew versus Cody wasn't giving me the same as
I forgot
Seth
it was on the card.
Cody. Right.
Because there's so much time in between matches in WWE PLEs. It's like 27-minute ring entrances, 45 minutes of commercials, and then a match that's 8 minutes long if women are in it.
Listen, so you're gonna get the Slim Jim ad whether you want it or not, Brad.
Oh my gosh. So
you're gonna get this American whiskey ad whether you're gonna buy it or not.
So to your point, I tend to agree when the story is right. This one is like a no-brainer because it's title versus title.
Of course.
So I have no problem with that one. That one makes sense. But I also think like have them both end it. Flip them around if you need to. But when you have women's title versus women's title and then men's title versus men's title, you did bookend the show. Okay. But not quite, because what opened the show? So it's going like the women's title versus title is not going to be the thing that opens. They're not all main events. You're not calling the women's title versus title a main event. And it'd be it kind of reminded me of when Big E lost in his title versus title, where it was sort of a bit of an elongated squash match. Not really, but like Stephanie was clearly winning that match and then did clearly win that match. And then got to speak in the ring, which was really cool. I believe the last, at least PLE main event with women in it was Elimination Chamber with Rhea and Nia in 2024. After that, it was, I believe, WrestleMania, Bianca versus Sasha.
That's shocking.
So at PLEs, that's what I'm saying. It feels different because some of these titles feel a lot more important. I think they've opened probably more. I'm not sure, but and I could have this wrong, but I was looking at this list that was compiled of every women's WWE PLE main event match definitively ranked and reviewed. Like, okay, but it was updated recently, so it was updated in July anyway. So I could be wrong. There could have been one since July, but I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know. There probably was Mania. Was there? No, there wasn't one this year. So I got nothing. Maybe SummerSlam, and I'm forgetting because it was 2 nights. I also don't know how to count those when it's like, yeah, the main event of night 1 and the main event of night 2. I feel like there's one main event and then there's the intermission event, and intermission is just 24 hours long, or I guess 20 hours long. If you account for ring entrances, 12 hours long.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a really hard time with it sometimes when I'm like, I don't like this match is definitely more important. Or Bryan Danielson's last match is this match. Okay. Main event it. I don't care if it's for a championship or not.
Even at WrestlePalooza, this was the perfect response to me, Brad. Kudos to you on this one. Salute emojis all around. WrestlePalooza, the mixed tag match, much more fan investment in AJ Lee's return than Cody versus Drew. There was no chance Drew was winning that match. All of us were tuning in.
Yeah. Nobody's talking about it either.
Yeah, for AJ Lee's return. I even think of last week we spoke about Bad Bunny being the upcoming Super Bowl performer. I think of Backlash Puerto Rico, one of my favorite PLEs of the decade. You could have closed that show with Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. Instead, it was Cody versus Brock Lesnar for the championship. So yeah, there are countless examples of what are fans really invested in? What do we really show up for physically or, on our TVs? And yeah, quite often, I would say in AEW as well, quite often it's not necessarily that title match, but how important is it that the title match closes it?
Yeah.
The fan in me, the kid in me is still like, yeah, I want the men's or women's title to be that very last match.
Yes. And I still think that the champion is the brand ambassador and all of that. But this was
for sure. Cody's the face of WWE, period.
And he lost to the other champion, the other brand ambassador. And that's why I'm always like, I don't really get WWE's model all that much. It's like, Cody's our guy. He's the guy. He lost. And he's the guy with the championship, and he lost to the other guy with the championship because there's 2 of them. So Seth is starting to feel more relatable every day as he's like, no, I built this company. It's like, yeah, he was kind of right. Cody left. Seth is here.
He's getting his moment. He's getting his flowers since WrestleMania.
He sure is.
As he should.
But these flowers also feel like dead ones. He's getting a lot of the attention and the accolades, and we're saying all of the things, and the crowd is singing his song. Does not feel the same. It just doesn't feel the same. And I don't know what that is, because Seth is one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. Period. Full stop. And I don't know. I'm still thinking about John Cena's missed punt in that match with JJ Styles and how kind of sad that kick looked. Tyler, I saw a lot of kicking this week. Little baby kicking, Freya kicking, me kicking, all kinds of kicking. Play the music. It's time for another round, like 4 straight weeks now, of Someday When You Have Kids. Play the music.
And now it's time for
Someday
When You Have Kids.
I can have kids.
Okay. Tyler, I got to meet my nephew this week. Noah is awesome. Noah is so much fun and so expressive and really enjoys getting tickled. And Freya, being a great big cousin, was really into it. She's never really been around a family member, a baby family member before. She's never been the oldest in any situation in our family. Everybody else is older. We got kids that are in late elementary, junior high, high school age, college age, that are all older than her. She's in 3rd grade. And to have a baby in the family, a baby up in the mix, has been a blessing. I wish they lived closer. But watching Freya play with Noah and just get to know what it's like to be around a little kid and take care of him, and the responsibility and how awesome it is. She was so excited. It was awesome to watch. Now, a couple things. Freya also experienced her first blowout. She's had plenty of blowouts. Blowouts are exactly what they sound like. I don't know if you've ever had the delight and the pleasure, Tyler, but when you're holding on to an infant and you hear something a gurgling, and then they kind of oh,
we know what that means.
You know what that means. And Freya was looking at him, was like, uh oh, I see something. I see something. I smell something. It was so funny watching her slowly figure out what happened.
That's an epic moment in real time.
So
you saw the wheels turning.
I sent you a very cute picture of her on the last day we were there, of them sitting in the chair together.
What a blessing. Yes.
2 minutes later is when we realized what had happened. It was moments before disaster. And because no one's getting a little antsy sitting there like, get me out of here. We're like, okay, he just wants his mom. Picked him up and he was fine because he was off of the disaster. Tyler, a blowout. Oh, when you have to make decisions, is it clean it or is it burn it? It's just watching Noah, and which they refer to Jess and Freya both, not Noah, but baby Noah. Baby Noah. We're going to see baby Noah. There's no other Noahs in our family, first of all. So what are we doing? Second of all, how long is it before one of you call him Baby Yoda? It's going to happen. And it did. Jess was the first one. We were in the car talking about getting home. Oh, Baby Yoda needs a break. And I went, Baby Yoda? Did you just call this child your nephew, your blood relative, Baby Yoda?
Pretty sure that happened. Yep.
Wow. Okay. But I knew it was gonna happen at some point.
You called it.
But it was really wonderful being around the family, seeing Freya get to interact with her aunt and uncle, and especially her little baby cousin was awesome. It was a joy to watch her find joy in another child as a child. So it was like getting to watch her discover and experience this new thing was really, really heartwarming. Final thought is she brought her silicone baby Raisin with I don't know why Raisin, but it's made out of silicone. I don't know how else to describe it. The baby looks pretty realistic, except Freya likes to brush the hair on these things. And this thing's got like just absolutely crazy missing patches of hair. And it had a cap on it. It looked bald. And the cap came off. And the scare that went through the room, the shock that went through the room at the reveal of this like alopecia that happened to this baby was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because Flora jumped back and like, and then everybody was just laughing because it was like just crazy. Because I knew, I thought it was the other baby. She's got 2 of these things. And I thought it was the one that came in the way babies come in with very little hair on their head. This thing was like, yeah, it was haunting. So really funny moment. A lot of those this trip, a lot of really funny things happened. A lot of fun happened. Lots of baby laughs, lots of baby snuggles, lots of blowouts, lots of things that looked like massacres. There's these little Frida things. You put a berry in it and it's mesh so the babies can eat it without actually getting the solids into their mouth. So they can basically smush the juice out of it with their gums. Easiest way to say it. Looked like a crime scene on his white onesie. And I said, like, he's wearing a onesie he would wear to a match with color in it to really sell it. This Noah is a CM Punk fan is what this is. It's all I could think the entire time as I see like just all the color, Tyler.
Because everything is wrestling.
Because everything is wrestling, and I hope you get to experience that someday when you have kids.
Baby Noah. Absolutely beautiful. Well, Brad, wrestling. We are not done with our conversation. Not at all. We need to discuss some AEW because WrestleDream is this Saturday from St. Louis. The show is headlined by Chris Statlander versus Timeless Tony Storm, and Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page. I have less of a question and more of a demand for you on this one. It's WrestleDream weekend. Give us a bold prediction for the show.
I'm trying to find the card for everything on here because I can't remember any of it. Those are the only two that I've been like.
Yeah, we're running back the Demand versus the Hurt Syndicate.
So
Fletcher
versus Darby Mox is the one I couldn't remember.
Oh, Darby, that may end up being the main event. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it'll be
Joe Hangman. What if we get Stat versus Tony? What if that's our first women's pay-per-view main event? Probably not for this one.
Wouldn't be mad at it. It's where is it? Is it St. Louis?
St. Louis, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Man, Stat versus Timeless Tony Storm needs to be the main event. I think Hayter versus Tekla is going to rule.
Yes.
I think
that tag match is going to be fire. Brodito,
that's what I was going to say. One of the two things that I think is going to happen here for Brodito versus the Callis family. It's either Okada and Takeshita are going to leave reluctant tag team champions, which I would love to see. Or it's the thing that gets them to start throwing haymakers at each other in the ring, and we finally have a split.
Probably the latter. Which
I hope is what happens. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe is going to be so much fun. So many brain busters are going to happen in that match. Brain busters and pile drivers are going to be everywhere. But I think Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks is going to be really fun. I want to see Jurassic Express win, and I want to see the Young Bucks lose their money again. I just think it's a funny gimmick at this point. How can you sleep on Hangman Adam Page versus Samoa Joe though? I don't think Joe wins. I think we'll go bold prediction. Maybe Hook gets himself involved there. But I doubt it since he's been doing other stuff. I got nothing. I got nothing. I feel like champions are going to leave champions with the exception of probably the tag champs. I think everything else is staying the same.
It seems like it's a fairly predictable show. Are we in line for a Samoa Joe heel turn? Can I interest you in that at all?
You can always interest me in heel Samoa Joe. He's already been working that way. But like, do you need to have heel Samoa Joe or just him being Samoa Joe? Because Samoa Joe is sort of a heel to begin with, but it's
he's always operated on that tightrope of we're gonna love and cheer for him regardless. But he's well, that just makes me think of the Ops in general. I still fantasy book the Demand to beat the Ops, which leads me to think, okay, maybe the Ops will remain quote unquote good guys for a little bit longer. But this surprising feud with Hangman Page has reminded me how much I've enjoyed Samoa Joe when he's a definitive heel in AEW. He low-key had one of the best AEW world title reigns.
100%.
It was one of the shortest.
So good.
But he was just a badass heel.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah. I would love to see that again. I would love to see him do that all over again. I'd give him the belt. I don't care. I just like, who do you have take him down? Is that when you finally flip Big Bill? My goodness, I'm over it. But I need Big Bill to split off from this tag stuff that he's doing with Keith and just start doing a singles run. I would love this week being like, I'm tired of losing. I'm doing this on my own. And then him break off, get jumped by somebody and then have him turn and then go full. I'm going to just nuke everybody with a big boot and just kill him in the ring. I think that would be great. I don't see any of that happening. The only thing I could see is maybe has it been enough time for Ruby to come back? I don't know. What are the other releases that happened recently that might show up? You know, we already have Andrade.
Right.
Was it who else got released? I can't even remember.
Well, Wesley released.
I was going to say
from
Wesley
WWE.
is
That
the
went-
one. The Wesley, which is that one's crazy. I couldn't believe that one.
Yeah, that happened this past week. And there were some other NXT releases, but nobody with the same name ID.
Sure.
Wesley.
No,
And if
Wesley
there were
feels like a
AEW
fit.
pay-per-view that could benefit from a surprise, this one feels like one that really could, because I don't know
completely
that
agree.
I don't know that they're, I mean, you and I are going to tune in, and we know how AEW always delivers on pay-per-view. I wonder, I mean, in some ways it kind of reminds me of All Out, which feels like it was just yesterday, but it was, several weekends ago. That card didn't necessarily scream, oh, you must tune in to see this, but it ended up being one of my favorite shows of the year. So I wonder for WrestleDream, is it going to be enough to just have excellent, fast-paced in-ring action, or are we going to get that plus, to your point, Brad, maybe a surprise that could really make this a memorable show and remind viewers, hey, even if the show doesn't seem to have all of the hype around it, you still got to tune in because the Graps are going to deliver. And with us at AEW, if I'm Tony Khan, the thought being you never know what's going to happen. That was so much of the mystique around AEW circa 2019 to 2022 is you and I would tune into Dynamite and there would be this air of, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to pop up. I wonder if we'll get some of that at WrestleDream, or if just simply, the in-ring action is going to be enough. Because you and I are going to tune in. I'm sure it's going to be an exceptional show. I wonder if we'll get any of those surprises. Wesley is the first name I thought of, but a Ruby return post-maternity would be great if she's ready. Other than that, we know Ospreay's out for a while. We expect Swerve to be out for a while. Kenny Omega has popped up recently, but we got Jurassic back, like you said. Andrade's here.
Do you think that you get a Naito cameo after he kind of buried what AEW is doing with Okada very publicly? Do you get Naito coming in because his contract's done with New Japan? They couldn't come to an agreement. Yeah, but he's been floating around out there since May, so I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. Or maybe this current era of AEW is really about elevating some of the people who have been on the roster for a minute, who have been waiting for their spot, or circa Chris Statlander, or an ascending talent like Kyle Fletcher, where really Q4, the rest of this year, if I'm him, I'm thinking, and he's been doing this, Brad, I'm going to tell people I've arrived, and, with a program that is sans MJF, again, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, who is your guy, who is the face of this place outside of Hangman Page. If I'm Kyle Fletcher, if I'm, name the people on the roster, Jurassic Express, so on and so forth, like, hey, I am that person. Bet on me, because there are some heavy hitters who are not around right now, especially on the men's side.
Yeah, and I'm racking my brain. I was looking people up. Like, I don't know who's available, who's there. I have absolutely no clue. It doesn't sound like there's really a whole lot to go on right now. So, I don't know. We'll just move on because I don't know what else we could do as a surprise. I can't think of anybody that's not, currently there or available. Maybe Danhausen shows up. Who knows?
You and I have wanted Keith Lee I've just stopped saying his name on air.
Me too. Because it's like,
I don't want to get disappointed, but if I am to throw out a name, Keith Lee
or Britt Baker,
my heart really happy. I hope we see Britt Baker again. Can I interest you in a Chris Jericho return?
So let me roll into my question here. So Ibushi is injured again, this time for longer than I think they thought. Sounds like a broken collarbone. Okay, the main event on Collision was a mixed trios match, which was a lot of fun. Love me some Willow. So many feuds feel a little bit to me like they're overstaying their welcome. They've been there for a while. They keep going. Nobody has a clue what's going on with Jericho. MJF is out, is what I tried to say there. Easy for me to say. Is out for a little bit. The women's division is a lot of fun, but the storylines feel a little stagnant. Tyler, where are you at with the state of storylines in AEW right now?
It feels like a down period for sure. I do love that we're seeing Willow consistently, and I saw earlier she's announced for the pre-show for WrestleDream, which makes me happy. Megan Bayne is a priority, also very important. But yeah, storyline wise, it does seem to be a down period, and I wonder how much of that is some of the top of the star power, the top of the proverbial food chain being MIA. versus or in conjunction with the creative not necessarily being at its hottest right now, right? We still have the Death Riders around. You and I would have been totally okay if the Death Riders ended in March or at the very latest post. Speaking of Texas, this is the Texas episode of Gimmick Infringement. If Death Riders ended after All Out, All In Texas, and yet we are still here where they are a prominent part of weekly storylines. Pac is back. He fought Orange Cassidy this past week on Dynamite. Yeah, man, it's a down period. And to me, it's not just about some of the lack of star power at the top of the card, because AEW is known for having an insanely deep roster. It really is the creative being, as you pointed out in your question, Brad, overstaying its welcome. To me, that's clearly the case with Death Riders, who are still arguably the most important creative going on week to week. But then also, like you said, some of the other stories not necessarily hitting for me. For example, the Don Callis family. There's like 15 members there. I don't...
Too many.
And you pointed out we're probably on the verge of them losing one of their most important members in Konosuke Takeshita. But right now, it just feels like, okay, we have the Death Riders. We have Don Callis adding people to his family. We have some of these other storylines that just are bedrocks of AEW right now, but aren't hitting for me maybe the way they are for other fans. And if I can just spotlight this, Brad, I'm super intrigued with the title reign of Chris Statlander. With Hangman Page, I've been fairly down on it. And Hangman had, no question, my favorite men's world title reign to date in company history. And the second reign, even though we're just a few months into it, it's been long enough now where I'm scratching my head thinking, oh, I wanted more. Is this going to be it? Is this going to be all that we're seeing? He fought Kyle Fletcher last month. Great match. We know Kyle Fletcher had no shot of winning that.
Yep.
And then for WrestleDream, facing Samoa Joe, I would argue Samoa Joe has no shot of winning this match. I'm sure the actual bout is going to be fun. But given how great Hangman's first one was and the redemption storyline, we still have the redemption storyline here, but I've just wanted more and I've expected more. So for me, the conversation really does in some ways start and end with, man, Hangman's reign just hasn't, the second reign hasn't started out as hot as I was hoping it would.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. And I think
he's still involved with the Death Riders. We don't need that. We already he should be done. We're done with that.
It needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's like Sting and NWO. Like, let's move on, please. My God. And I think it's the part is the reason we started rooting for him is because his character shifted so much, and we fell in love with his character. Why'd he shift back? Like, he could still be like like a lighter persona who's a good guy, but like keep that, like, I'm just going to beat the ever living crap out of you for doing something to me. I'm not going to hold back. I loved unhinged Hangman, and I didn't feel like he was ever really a heel. He was just unhinged.
That was the beauty of his story. Great creative. Yep.
I mean, that's basically like Jon Moxley. That's Dean Ambrose. Just unhinged. That's the whole gimmick. Just unhinged. We're not going asylum here, but like, let Hangman just be. Now he's like looking at cows, and it's just, this is who I was supposed to be the whole last. Fine, cool. I get it. It's a personal journey. I think that's really cool. Him finding a place that he belongs. I think that's really cool. And also, I want to see you back with the mustache, and I want to see you wearing that black jacket. Get that tan jacket out of here.
We don't ask for much. We just want the stash and the black jacket.
I want the jeans and the biker looking jacket, the stash, and I want you to go up there, keep the theme. We could keep Ghost Town Triumph, but like, I need you to go beat people up again and not just win matches. I need you to beat people to a pulp, light their house on fire on occasion. I need those things to happen.
I did enjoy when he mentioned that in the promo celebrating 6 years of Dynamite. You know, I've lit someone's house on fire. I've dressed as this person. I've lost friends. I was like, yeah, there's been some great creative on AEW over the last 6 years, namely through the main character of the company in Hangman Page. But overall, it does seem like it's in a down period right now, and I hope heading into Q4 these last few months, or I guess we're already in Q4, these last few months of AEW. I hope they're able to regain some of that creative momentum, because there's no question week in and week out, the in-ring product is as good as you're going to see on American television. How do we reignite some of that creative, particularly when there's been roster movement and, people have been banged up or needed time off?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I'm sure we'll figure it out. I am interested to see what happens after the Samoa Joe thing, and if he has to go to a darker place to beat Joe, because we know Joe will. But I have a lot of questions, and I'm glad Hangman's getting, like a lot of the OGs, like you said, really supporting those talent. I'm glad he's getting his attention and his deserved due, his flowers, you might say. Tyler, it's time once again to get into a rose from Tyler. So play the music.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
All right, Brad, a rose this week. Well, I'll save who it's going to go to in just a moment. Obviously, we are continuing with the second season of The Golden Bachelor, starring Mel Owens. This update I'm going to entitle Hot Girl Peg, in honor of that hot girl Megan Thee Stallion era from a few years ago, easy for me to say. Peg is a contestant on this season. And last week's episode, this is now episode 4 officially, we're already here, began with a one-on-one date, Peg and Mel. And this took place at the California State Fair. So pause to ask you a question, Brad Winchester. Have you ever been on a date at a state fair?
Yes, I have.
How was that experience for you?
It's a lot of fun. As a young person, quite a bit of fun.
Good. I thought maybe you were going to zag here. Okay, fantastic. I have not.
No, you got think about it like this. Okay, you got a place that's heightened emotion, right? Like you go on a ride and it's scary or terrible, but you shared experience. You get to be together with those things. You get to go do let me show you how manly I am by not knocking over any of these milk bottles.
You can look like a total stud.
Yeah, totally.
Or not.
Get the strength challenges or whatever. Then you can laugh at how poorly, with health and strength you are.
The basketball shooting on the elevated hoop for a $30 teddy bear
made out of elastic. All of those things. Yeah, all of those are so much fun. And there's like the art exhibits and go see the animals. It's like a little bit of everything there where you can go and have a shared experience, and you have to talk to each other the whole thing. So it's. Yeah. I think it's great. The lights,
great photo
the sounds.
Opportunity.
Yes. Go on the Ferris wheel, have some alone time up top, look out at the fair, go like, it's so beautiful up here. And so are you. That kind of stuff. Like, yeah, give me the fair all day long. Now as an adult, that can kick rocks.
Well, maybe we're inching closer to getting Brad back invested into the Golden Bachelor here. So I wanted to start there, Brad, because that again is how the episode began. Performing
at the state fair, by the way. Checking it out.
Yes, yeah. Performing at this California State Fair, so they stayed in the confines of the greater LA area. Were KC and the Sunshine Band.
Wow.
So Peg was dancing to KC. She got Mel to warm up a little bit and dance with her. So that was fun. Later on in the episode, there was a group date, which for me was the dreaded photo shoot. This time it was set on the beach. It was giving wedding theme, golden wedding, where at any given moment, there were 3 or 4 women with Mel posing for this photo shoot. I believe it was for People magazine, a spread in there. So functionally, it served a purpose that it would go to a magazine. But this reminded me of that cheer competition from earlier in the season, where it just felt like this. I don't think we should be watching this. Why do we need a wedding photo shoot? Part of, I think, an Achilles heel of this season of Golden Batch, Brad, is there have been some decisions from production to make this feel more like a traditional Bachelor season. And part of the charm, correct me if I'm wrong, part of what you and Jessica enjoyed about the inaugural Golden Batch was it felt like a complete 180 from a traditional Bachelor season. It was more wholesome. The contestants, it was less about creating villains and creating rivalries, and it was more about the contestants getting along and having the shared experience of, being worried that time may run out for them before they find, the love of their lives. So So even this wedding photo shoot to me was indicative of, I don't really agree with some of the, dare I say, creative decisions around how they're shooting the second season. And Mel, just in general, is a dud and is a bit of a charisma vacuum, to borrow a saying from my co-host here. So I just don't know that he is the right lead. I still feel that way. But alas, later on in the episode, finally, Roxanne, Robin, and Jerry were eliminated. Jerry, a sister, was the first contestant to receive, or the only contestant to receive the first impression rose. So this continues a long tradition of whoever gets the first impression rose, regardless of the season, is typically cursed and is not going to make it to hometowns, and it's certainly not going to be the lead's final pick. So unfortunately, Jerry's gone, again, as are Roxanne and Robin. But what I want to tell you, Brad, is this episode was important because we saw the development of a heel. We know how this goes seemingly every batch season. For this season, it appears Nicole is going to be the heel. She's from Florida, and on this episode, she alluded to, during some group conversation, perhaps wanting to be on the show for the incorrect reasons, for fame, to become an influencer, to lead with a brand deal. So she, in some ways, essentially kind of verbalized that, and she is being shot, and maybe she's being produced to be the villain of the season. Again, I just don't think we need that on the Golden Bachelor or the Golden Bachelorette. Save that for the other seasons, but not for our precious Golden. So I'm interested to see what happens. She was not eliminated, but there's been some part of the previews for this week for episode 5. The way they've shot it, some of the mystery has been, oh, is this going to be when, I was going to say Gary, yikes, when Mel maybe changes his mind and has that conversation with Nicole about, hey, are you here for the right reasons? Because the relationship is very physical right now, but it's all signs seem to point to eventually he's going to eliminate her because he fears that she's here to get a brand deal, not to, vie for his heart, if you will. But I really like Debbie. Debbie shined during the group wedding photo shoot. She has not been married before. She was engaged once, but has never worn a wedding dress. So not only does she have a strong connection with Mel, but she just seems to be a real one. And I'm excited to see how she progresses on the show. But that being said, my rose is going to Peg. Peg was the winner for me this week. I think she's going to make it far. I think she's a lock for hometown. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know. How old is she? Is she under 60?
You know what? She is not. But Bell clearly has to get over that. He put his foot in his mouth, and I think he's going to be just fine. Peg, Debbie, they're front runners. And if you've learned anything from this episode of Gimmick Infringement, Brad, I think it's that state fairs. Maybe that is a bod. Maybe that is an ideal date if you're looking for date ideas. Arizona State Fair still going on.
I feel like it's always going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's still going on. Still got another week or so, maybe.
The Pima County Fair that happens once a year, and
yes,
it's a big deal in these here parts of the spring. And
it is. Yeah,
down in Houghton, I believe.
I've never been to the Pima County Fair. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Maybe I'm just not a state fair guy.
Well, shocking. What do you mean, Tyler? I will tell you that if you go to the Pima County State Fair, how do I frame this? You already know who's there. Okay, Tyler, what did we miss?
Yeah, we missed 2 important items. Number 1, a final wrestling note. This Saturday, not only do we have AEW WrestleDream, but we also have Ashe close to midnight. You can visit Ashe Wrestling, ASEWrestling.com, for information on how to purchase the streaming link. Ashe is also launching a Patreon this week. So very exciting time for Darius Lockhart and company out there in North Carolina. For this specific card, Brad, AEW Women's Champ Charity King defends her title for the first time against Aaliyah James. Anytime Aaliyah James pops up on a card, I am going to tune in, take my money. That match should be amazing. Darius Carter versus Billy Dixon, TME versus Ugly Gang to crown the inaugural Ashe men's tag team champions is happening. So really big show. And then finally, Brad Winchester, the WNBA finals finished since we last recorded. We can't have nice things. The Phoenix Mercury not only lost, they got swept by Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces. Yeah. But it is not all bad. Not at all. If you visit gimmickinfringementpod.com, you can find the whole history of the original articles that Brad and I have written and have published. The most recent one being entitled "The Year of Asia," in which I reflect on Asia Wilson winning her third WNBA championship along with her fourth MVP, and just really making a case for being the greatest player of her generation. So really loved watching her ball. Unfortunately, it was at the expense once again of myself and you and all of the Phoenix Mercury fans. So shout out to Asia though. What do we miss, Brett?
Well, it's tough because I was watching on my phone. I also caught articles on my phone. My internet kept cutting in and out. I got a shout out from a message from Erica Day. Shout out to her and her coverage this season. Absolutely on fire. Please give her a follow on Twitter, Instagram, wherever else she is these days. Part of PHNX Sports, and her coverage is awesome. But she wished me a happy birthday, Tyler. My birthday was on Facebook.
I saw that.
October something, like October 8th, 1912. I don't know what the hell happened.
You look good.
For 1912, I look great.
I told you look good when we first jumped on this call.
These blemishes on my face are from wearing sunglasses. All I did was put on sunglasses for too long, and my face is breaking out. But while I was not getting connected to that, I was getting the news. So only thing that we missed is we didn't get to talk about how sorry I am for all the fellow circumcised folks out there who probably have autism because of it, according to our what is his name? Our health secretary, our health lord, whatever we're calling this this monarchy now. I'm not really sure, but a guy with a terrible voice said that I probably have autism. That's what we missed.
Wow. No Transition Jones, other than to say I'm proud of myself because I caught that on Facebook. And I was about to type, I was actually about to text you and wish you happy birthday. And I went, wait, no, this is not accurate. It's not May, it's October. This is
the worst part is that I posted a thing saying thank you for the birthday wishes. It's not my birthday. I was not born in October of 1912.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Yeah. I did not see that.
People were commenting happy birthday on it.
I saw it. Yeah.
But like they meant it. There's no chance they read past the first line, which is thank you for the birthday wishes. Like read the whole thing, jabronis.
Listen, you are, whether it was your actual real government birthday or not, you are loved and you are appreciated.
I am. And it was really nice getting all that love for no reason, because I intentionally tried to hide my birthday. I don't want the happy birthday posts. I don't want that stuff. Like if you know me, text me. I don't want the other stuff. That's just not who I am. I've never been like that.
I get it. Well, regardless of what RFK Jr. thinks, you are appreciated.
Good ideas in this conference.
Dang, that's tough. Ending with an RFK impression to close out this episode. That's a sign that we have gone over time and we need to get out of here. Brad, thank you for being here. We thank all of you for joining us. Enjoy wrestling. Enjoy all that I'm sure is to come in the world of pop culture this week. Let us know your predictions. Let us know your thoughts from WWE to AEW to him to Golden Batch to road trips with the fam. You know we appreciate hearing what resonated with you. You can drop us a comment here on YouTube. You can reach out to us across the social spaces at GIPod19. 5-star reviews on your audio platform or platforms of choice are always appreciated. Again, we thank you for being here. Dare I say, for rocking with us for 4 years. And we'll see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.